everyone. My name is David Hunter Jr. I am the host of Post in Black, and I want to welcome you to our season 3 kickoff. We are excited to start off our season 3 by welcoming my brother and the founder of Post in Black, Daniel K. Hunter, and two of our co-producers from Trailblazer Studios, Eric Johnson and Aurelia Belfield. Hey, everybody. How you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good, man.
Good to be here.
Feeling good?
Hi.
Feeling good. Awesome. Well, as you know, we always kick off our season with an icebreaker. So today's icebreaker is, what is the last show that you binge watched?
Well, that's easy for me because I've been trying to catch up on stuff that was like um, viral last year. So
Mhm.
for me, it was Squid Game.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Squid Game. That's a good one. What about you? Or I see the wheels turning the rig.
That's right.
Abbott Elementary. I got all
Ah,
caught up, and I really love it.
oh, oh
So
man.
good,
That is
yeah.
that is a great show. Eric, how about you?
Yeah, I'll go in a different direction. Years and
Mhm.
years ago, I guess when the show first, came on, my family and I just have enjoyed. It's an escape to watch The Amazing Race. So
Oh wow.
we're in the
Okay.
middle of the current season, and it's been really cool to travel
Yeah.
the world from my TV room.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's all. You guys mentioned all pretty good ones. I've been watching Abbott Elementary and The Wonder Years and
Mm.
Ozark. Just finished that. So your boy's been watching a few
Oh,
different ones. So yeah, that last season. We have you on. Obviously, we're talking about Post in Black, and I would say that we had a really excellent season 2, and it started by just partnering with you both at Trailblazer, Eric and Aurelia. So would you mind just speaking to your thoughts, obviously coming on for the first season, working with us, and how you felt last season went?
Sure. Learned about your season kind of midstream, and reached out to join forces because at the time I think all of us were trying to figure out what we can do in a meaningful way
Hmm.
to address the issue of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the industry. And one of the first issues for everyone is just knowing people, or knowing that these roles exist. And Post in Black check those boxes off, and Aurelia and I were happy to just be welcomed into the family. And one of the best decisions I feel like I've made in a long time.
Yeah. No, awesome. Yeah, Aurelia.
I found out about Post in Black from Eric, and I had been running around all over Zoom land doing diversity, equity, and inclusion workshops and consultations. So I was immediately super interested in it, and I'm part of the Guild of Music Supervisors Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee.
Hmm.
So getting into this, I was like, "Oh, I want to know more. Let's find out." And then we met all of you, and you were all great. So it was even better.
Yeah. And you said all of you, and I do want to give a special shout out to our co-founder of Made for More and our other producer, Tatiana M. Johnson, behind the scenes. She runs a lot of the stuff, coordinates all of the interviews, the guest scheduling, the assets that we use for our posts, and our team behind the scene, Andrea and PreShus. So appreciate you ladies for all you do, because we could not do it without you. Throwing it back to Daniel. Daniel, obviously this has been your baby, your vision. How would you say, we've grown since the first season into last season as well?
well, I think one of the big changes that we made um, last year was having the website up and running. And so you can go
Mhm,
to postandblack.com and you can see all the episodes for the first 2 seasons
mhm,
listed there. You can subscribe to get updates from us. Um, and just trying to broaden our reach. We started reaching out to universities and colleges, just trying to get the word out about what we're doing.
mhm.
And it's exciting to see how appreciative everyone that we contact is of our efforts. And it's like motivational. It makes you want to keep going and do more. So,
Right, right. No, I think you mentioned that even last season when we did our recap, but what you said about the outreach and then the feedback from what we've done when we've reached out to people, it's been really amazing. Even from our last event that we did with Girl Gaze to close out 2021, and just looking forward to what's coming in season 3. I know we have some exciting interviews that are already in motion. Is there anything that stands out to you that you're looking forward to building on and going into season 3 that people can get excited about now? Daniel, I'll start with you.
Oh, I don't know if I want to like drop any alpha is what they call it these days. That's what the kids call it these
Is that
days.
what you kids are calling it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know if we're dropping any alpha today, but yeah, super excited for some episodes that will be releasing within the next month or so. That we got to shoot on location. I'll give you that hint. So
Uh, on location. Yeah, yeah. That's exciting. Eric, I guess tapping into a little bit what Daniel said, I guess without giving too much away, what is something that you're looking to build upon as we go into season 3, that maybe we didn't do last year or that we could do more of?
I guess sticking with where Daniel was, just really excited again. Those in person, on location
Mhm.
connections we were able to make, but really blown away and excited about the response from industry.
Mhm.
I know a lot of the motivation for this was to create a platform where aspiring folks in the industry can learn that these careers exist. But the other side of that is to increase employment of diverse talent.
Right.
The industry leaders and executives need to be aware that this talent exists,
Yeah.
and feel like this forum has really served that. And it's one thing to theorize that, but we've heard it from some pretty major players. Their excitement, their willingness to help us in any way they can, and even some reach out. I think each of us have had various networks or other industry leaders reached out to us seeking talent because they know of our connections just through the 2 seasons thus far of Post in Black. So to see it doing what it's supposed to do is extremely rewarding.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess Aurelia, there were a lot of questions that were asked in that event that you moderated for us with Girl Gaze, and there was a all women panel. What are some things and some takeaways that I guess you took from that, even into adding more diversity is the word, but just more Black people in the space of post production and what needs to be what light needs to be shed even more.
I think it's the fact that it's a better product. It gives you a better product, right? Like
Hmm.
having more of these voices on set, building a community where folks are feeling like they can bring up things, they can talk about stuff. Like we were talking about in the Girl Gaze panel, where I was there with 3 fantastic editors. Sometimes the cut makes all the difference. Sometimes it's just like noticing that little detail in a scene that the editor can cut to that just changes the whole vibe and elevates the whole thing. And I'm a story person, so I'm really excited for more of those kind of stories in season 3.
Yeah, yeah. And I think one thing that I'm excited about, I know we've talked about a lot of the personal journeys over the first couple of seasons, but what are some of the technical aspects that you think we could touch on a little bit more as we go into post production and try to really draw people into what it is? And, obviously we talked about why people got into post, what made them get intrigued, how they got their first gig, but what are some of the technical aspects, their first, editing software that they can buy or something that could be affordable? What are some things that you feel like we can touch on even more that can kind of draw people in and increase the audience reach of Post in Black? And I'll go back to Daniel maybe.
yeah, with our website now that it's like a blog kind of platform, there's opportunity for us to have like guest authors, right? So we could
Mhm.
have an editor kind of write an article like editing 101 or kind of like introduction to sound editing or introduction to music supervising, where you can kind of have like a soup to nuts like uh, breakdown of like getting
Right.
from, oh, this sounds cool, I'm interested, to like being a little dangerous, with editing software,
Yeah.
and kind of, you know, leading someone to, um, the place where they're like getting their hands on software and actually doing something. So I think that's a natural like progression of the website, and something
Hmm.
that I think we could explore this year.
Okay. And then going to you and Aurelia, or Eric, I should say, both of you are still working full time in the industry, hands, all strapped in. There's so much work, and we know even right now your time is limited because of the work that you have to do outside of this. What are some things that you feel like people should know when they come into the industry, and maybe some of the advantages they could have if they knew this information prior?
I think for me, I would encourage, there are spaces in the industry, on the tech side, there's things like the National Association of Broadcasters and the Audio Engineering Society. Even though, I think one of the most striking things for me and the value I see in the community that Post in Black is creating is the NAB shows, usually in Las Vegas, and hundreds of thousands of attendees. And when I look out over the crowd, I see very few faces of color. And I know that
Mhm.
can be uncomfortable, but we need to be there because ultimately, especially tech is tech, and cameras operate the same way no matter what race you are. And you need to know that. So making sure we are in those spaces and feel like we are supposed to be there
Yeah.
is extremely important. And now there's so many, I guess after COVID, so many online forums and workshops and things like that to attend. And you were mentioning binging programs. I would
Yeah.
binge material, binge
Mhm.
information, because there's no shortage.
Yeah.
And that's important to know how things work, because that's what's going to be expected of anyone that walks into an edit suite or a mix stage, or steps behind the camera.
Yeah. That's a you had a tweetable quote there, man. That cameras work the same no matter what race you are. I agree. In editing software and actors, we can go down the list. Aurelia, I'll throw it to you as well.
I think number one, attitude being everything. This is a relationship based industry. So coming into a space open, ready to
Mhm.
learn, because you're never going to stop learning. There's not going to be a point where you know everything, no matter how many books you read, right? But coming in and trying to make genuine connections with people, that is going to take you the farthest every single time. Getting to know people on your same level, like that lateral networking that people are talking about, and building out those relationships with folks that you care about and that care about you, and that whatever position you're in, you can go to. So maybe you are a post supervisor and you've been friends with this editor since you both started, and you can ask them some questions that you maybe can't ask other folks on your team, or get really great interview prep going into another gig. Like, their relationships matter and they mean everything.
Yeah. It's a comfort level I think you're speaking to when you mention all that, being able to speak to somebody that looks like you. There's a lot right now, and obviously this episode is dropping after the whole situation, but there's been so much in the past with, even you look in the sporting world with the NFL and the hiring of coaches, and and all that happened with Brian Flores, that situation that was taking place. So there's obviously a comfort level even from the hiring standpoint of hiring people that look like you. So if we're able to get, more positions to be, or more people in positions where they can actually be in hiring situations to offer jobs, I think that would obviously open up the door for more people that look like you and I. Now we're gonna throw it back to season two a little bit before we wrap this up. We don't have to single out any particular guests, but was there one interview that stood out more to you? And I can say you can even add yourself, because both of you were highlighted in last season as well.
Yeah, I
So
think that was
yeah.
fantastic. Uh,
Exactly. Yeah. No. Was there any guest, that stood out more than or the interview, or some nugget that was dropped that you're like, that stuck with me, or that was really interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah. I know I had the pleasure of speaking with everybody. So
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
this is
really,
I
hard.
yeah.
I don't want to like play favorites. That's like a dangerous path. But
Right.
uh, I will say that one thing that I appreciated about last season, and I think one thing that we'll continue to focus on, is the range of roles that we showcase. So like, you know, Eric, for example, being an audio engineer, and
Mhm.
Aurelia being a music supervisor, Ruel Smith being a visual effects artist, Daryl Jefferson. I think, yeah. I mean, if I had to single one out, Daryl's episode was pretty incredible. I mean, him talking about the thousands of hours of footage from the Olympics that he deals with,
Yeah.
being a VP at NBC Sports. So I think, yeah, just showing that range. I think this year, we'll look at maybe even highlighting a film composer and kind of just broadening all the different roles because there's so many, and I think
Right.
we couldn't even fit all of them into one season. There were just
Right.
like so many different roles, so many different
Right.
parts of post production, and that's exciting. And I think, yeah, that's something we did a good job of last year, I thought.
Yeah.
I think it's autumn. I think it might be Terrell's episode. A big thing about this show is being able to meet folks that have worked on, some of your favorite, like most formative
Yeah.
pieces, right? And so to be able to see them chat and become that much more accessible,
Mhm.
uh, even for somebody like me who's been in this business for a while now, it's
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, you can see yourself again, right? You
Yeah.
can see yourself like, okay, I can keep doing this because this person's been doing it for even longer than I have. And then on the flip side of that, an episode like Stephanie's,
Yeah.
where you see somebody that's closer to your own age and remind you of friends of yours where you're like, okay, yeah, like all those friends that you've like made these lateral relationships with, you can go on and make something
Yeah.
fantastic as a Black Lady sketch show.
Yeah. That's real. That's real. How about you, Eric?
Yeah, not so much about any particular episode, but Aurelia mentioned earlier community. And for
Mhm.
me, we met, you guys had much of season two in the can. And I went back
Mhm.
and, binged through season one and season two. And it's sad to say that, being in this industry for over 30 years, I met
Mhm.
more Black folks, in post in this
Yeah.
last year through Post and Black. And that's no exaggeration, I have in my whole career. And
Yeah.
subsequently, I reached out to many of them. I consider those that I reached out to friends, and felt like it was a situation where we were all discovering each other, which is,
Yeah.
you know, rewarding that this provided a forum for that, but a little bit sad that many of us have been in the industry for 20 plus years and didn't know each other existed. So, as
Yeah.
creating that community and looking forward, I mean, we've done all this under the cloud of COVID, but when we can
Mhm.
get out and about and travel the country freely again. I think you alluded to earlier the idea of being able to be in some of these spaces and to
Yeah.
create forums for at least two purposes. One, for us all to connect, but two, for folks in the industry, executives that we were having a conversation earlier about how important it is to know people. It's one thing to read a resume. It's one thing
Right.
to even see someone interviewed and go, you know what, they look qualified, but what are they like to work with? And so
Right.
at award shows and trade shows and film festivals, if we can create an opportunity for everybody to get to know each other, that's where I think we'll really be able to take this to another level.
Yeah, no, you well said, well said. I think all of you hit the nail on the head, and Eric is, put a button on what you mentioned. I think there's so much potential, even still. A lot of the guests have even said that they weren't aware of what we were doing, and I still think we have only touched the tip of the iceberg to the reach that Post and Black can have. For people that work in post production, and then people just to be informed in general. Um, Obviously I can't single out. I asked the question. I'm not going to single out one particular guest. There was a guest with Daisha Broadway. It was like talking to one of my homies, and it was just because of our disdain for Crocs that I really remember that interview.
I remember
More
that.
than anything. I remember that interview more than most, but
That was
I
funny.
think, yeah, I think the one thing that did stand out though is all of these great people working behind the scenes and post, the humility that they had with what they do. Obviously we're talking to Emmy winners. We got to talk to Daisha and Stephanie before they
Mhm.
won the Emmy. And then to kind of see that journey come about after the fact was really exciting. And to kind of be there, in the beginning before it happened, I was really thankful to have that experience and felt very thrilled. But the humility, the just authenticity of everybody, there's no putting on. They all just want to help and work. And there's still people that come back to talk to us and say, "Oh, I really enjoyed your interview and Shannon's interview from season one. Oh, Leander, him watching, people as a security guard, that really stuck out to me." There's so many different, I think, takeaways, and I just think I'm excited about more that's going to be shared this coming season. Like Daniel said, some in-person interviews that I think everybody will gain a lot from. And who knows, some additional interviews that could come in the middle of the season that we aren't aware of yet. So I'm not going to keep talking forever because we have a lot to talk about this upcoming season. As we close out, are there any last thoughts that you want to leave with everyone as we get ready to go into season 3 fully? I'll go back to Eric, Aurelia, and then I'll end
Yeah.
with Dave.
Well, I would just say, you mentioned this is the first episode of season 3, and if this is the first time you've seen Post in Black, there are 2 more seasons that are still evergreen, because if you haven't seen them, then it's new information for you. So I'd encourage you to go back and watch those, and please share with anyone and everyone you think would find value in this, because it's just great information. David, you're just such a great interviewer, and you get to the heart and soul of people. I've seen many interview programs where it's about the tech, or you just feel like you're meeting people on the surface level, but you just have a way of making people comfortable and feeling like they've known you for years and years. And I think that's something worth going back and checking out.
Yeah, I'm going to just echo what Eric said. David, you do such a great job of interviewing these folks. At the end of an episode, you feel like you know them. And the great thing about that is then you can go back and look at their work and you feel like you're really rooting for somebody that you care about. And they'll turn you on to new stuff that you hadn't seen before, and just make you think about what all the different roles that are out there for folks. And I really do hope that this project continues to inspire people to look beyond like acting, directing. Like there's a whole world out there and we deserve to be there. I was watching something last night that mentioned, in the over 3,000 Academy Awards that have been given out since the beginning of Academy Awards, only 13 have gone to Black women.
Wow.
And I hope that we could, flood the system with our excellence.
Man, that is
That's sobering.
that is a striking number, but yeah, that is very real, very real. As somebody I was fortunate enough to go to the Oscars for about 10 years. I'm that's why it's such a big deal when we win or even get nominated. So crazy. Daniel,
Yeah,
we'll close it out with you.
I'm
Oh, sorry.
sorry. It just put in perspective for me. Like we live in a meme culture, and people like to hee hee ha ha about, like especially Halle Berry's Oscar acceptance speech. But when you put it in the context of how long it had been
Yeah,
since, no, nobody had done it before. She was the
nobody.
first person to do it,
Mhm.
and the fact that she genuinely thought that this was going to be a watershed moment
Yeah.
for us. Like I can't imagine.
And they gave it to Denzel and Sidney Poitier on the same night, if you remember. Denzel got Best
Let's
Actor for
get it
Training
all out of
Plain
the way.
City. Yeah,
It's
all
Black
out the
History
way.
Month. Let's get it out of the way.
Yeah.
God is great. God is great. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you all. 40 years I've been chasing Sydney. They finally give it to me. What they do? They give it to him the same night. I'll always be chasing you, Sydney. I'll always be following in your footsteps.
Yeah. So crazy. So crazy. So much work to be done still. Daniel?
Yeah, I would say community is something that's top of mind for this year. Talking to several people in the industry last year for season 2, people want to stay in touch and they want to, continue to speak with one another, and just thinking through how we can facilitate that and how we can, maybe spin up like a digital community for people to interact with each other in a fluid way, in a natural, like organic way. So yeah, that's something that I think would be awesome as like a progression.
Yeah. No, I think you all said it so well. And for those of you tuning in, we just want to thank you again for watching everything here at Post in Black. Thank you for watching this first kickoff episode into our season 3. And as everyone said, there are still episodes. You can go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, catch up on the first season and the second season of Post in Black, and stay tuned. Tell everybody you know about Post in Black, because we have so much great content coming for you this season. Subscribe to us, follow us on all of our social media channels, and we'll be so excited to have you join our community. Until then, We'll see you in season 3. Take care.
Take care. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.